Welcome to the first session in the Innovation Highway track. Here, our speakers will discuss and talk about some of the new ideas and practices their organizations have tried during the pandemic. We'll explore if these ideas have been fast-tracked into use, the technologies used, and if they are now part of the organization's procurement and supply chain practices. Our first session is with Waleed Al-Saeedi, Director of Supply at the Department of Tourism and Culture, Abu Dhabi. He will discuss Just Do It procurement, looking at how a change in mindset has transformed culture and resulted in higher productivity in the department.
Good afternoon. Assalamu alaikum jami'an. Thank you very much, Rob, for this introduction. I'm really very glad to be with you guys today, and more than happy to speak about our experience with DCT Abu Dhabi. The title is really very interesting and make me very excited about it. Simply, I would say, or I will claim, it's a story of success. That's why I think it's worth to share it with the audience, who really I appreciate everyone who attending today with this webinar. Basically, I would start with a little bit history about DCT. I joined DCT in 2013. At that time, it was just announced about merging of three different entities, government entities. And you can imagine three different entities with three different systems, three different ERP, three different policies. And also nothing is really happening at that point. We get very good legacy, I would say, from the different entities like Tourism Authority, Culture and Heritage Authority, and Culture Sector, and from TDIC. That was basically the three different entities. And in the same time, keep in mind, when you talk about procurement in government entity, you get certain constraints and requirements in order to move the procurement. It's not easy as it's supposed to be, comparing with any private or semi-government. And that was additional, let's say, challenge. I joined 2013 May, and the actual merging announced in September. So it was like a challenge in different dimension, but in the same time, I was lucky enough with a few people who was available at that time, lucky with the great support from the management at that time also, and the humble experience which I brought from oil and gas and nuclear sectors, where they really well established and also strong when it comes to the quality and system requirements. So basically, I did focus at that time, me and the team, in three, let's say, aspect of the procurement system, process, and people. Mentioning people was the easiest and the same challenging aspect, because I get only a few people with good experience, and also almost one or two Emiratis, where the target was to raise the Emiratization over 60%. So I started immediately by hiring some Emiratis with good experience, and some we hire with fresh grads, and at the same time we give them the opportunity to join different training requirements in order to get this done. The other aspect is the process, and again, because it's a government entity, it's really difficult to sometimes change the process, where people used to have certain requirements, and at the same time it's required a little bit more process in order to change the process, if I can say it in that way. When it comes to the system, ERP system, again, I found myself with three different systems. SAP for the tourism Authority, Oracle old version for the Culture and Heritage Authority, and new version for the culture sector, or I don't know what they called at that time, culture sector from TDIC. So it was really difficult, but again, we had a good plan in order to join Abu Dhabi government ERP system in order to unify the system. So that happened like in few months in April 2014. When it comes to the process, policy, procedure, that also done a little bit later stage, and we were able to join the rest of the government entities, what they call it at that time, law number 6 in the with the Department of Finance. So this basically, when it comes to a system and process for people, it's, I think it's the best story, I would say, because we made really a very unique and challenge program where, again, by hiring more people, especially Emiratis, some of them they came with very good experience. Some came from a fresh grad. Getting people with such experience or non-experience with the fresh grads normally will end up with a little bit more challenge. But again, using this experienced people, trying to transfer this knowledge to the rest of the team was a program. In same time, we decided to join SIBS program and get people joining the SIBS training program. And thanks God, now the majority done this program, and they about to earn their MSIBS certificate. And I'm saying a majority of the team. We are 30, and majority more than 20 people who already about to hold this certificate. Not to mention people who holding fellowships, 4 people from the team, which I believe the highest number in one single organization here, at least in this region, which we proud of. Also, from other perspective, we decide to join the SIBS Platinum certificate that happened in 2016 or early 17, and it was really very challenging because normally you don't go from standard to platinum in one jump, but we accepted that challenge. We decided to take that challenge in a very short time, where we were able to earn that certificate in less than 1.5 years almost. And I believe till now no organization could achieve this certificate in that period. So in a way, it was not easy, but in the same time, just need to be ready for any change. If someone asks what's the difference between DCT and any other, or at least government entity here in the region, not only in Abu Dhabi or UAE, I can say no difference at all. Once you secure the support from the higher management and get the clear vision on what you're trying to achieve. Basically, all the time, we never thought about just getting a certificate or sending people in training. It was clear that we want to be the best among others and to serve the organization in the first level, and Emirate of Abu Dhabi and UAE in would say first level, actually, not the second. And that really make everyone aligned in that vision. In same time, the quantum of the project we get was increasing with the time. Simple example, if I would say, like handling more than 5,000 POs per annum, budget exceeds sometime 1.5 billion dirhams. Contracts sometime exceed 200 different contracts and special and very specialized type of agreements that also give more challenge, but in same time raise the bar for the team and for the department. I think this experience give us the opportunity also to help and support different organization whenever they ask for it, and we are happy to share it with anyone who feel that they can make use of this experience with the DCT. Mentioning this, I want to thank all people who attended from DCT, and I'm talking about my team in DCT, who I'm sure today some of them attending this session. I don't want to make it long, so I think I cover most of what I tried to tell or speak about today. And Rob, please feel free to ask any questions if you have, or if there's any audience questions available, please don't hesitate to provide me with.
Thank you, Waleed. Thank you for that presentation. I think a starting point would be how did you go about the process of starting? You know, you obviously recognize that this change was needed. So how did you go about building that strategy so that you could then get to the point where you are now?
It's very important to realize what's the organization strategy. I mean, you can't build a strategy in absence of the organization strategy. And that first thing I thought, because in order to get your department strategy, you need to plug it within the organization strategy and the emirate government, let's say, strategy. And that's the first step. Just to make this a little bit clear, we handling 2 or 3 main sectors here in Abu Dhabi: tourism, culture sector, and also library. So for the tourism, you can imagine we have so many events need to be run through the year, and some of them mega events, like for example, Mother of the Nation and Qasr al-Hassan event. We have some very specialized events like the Culture Summit, which happen every year with high-ranked people who attend this summit. In addition to that, culture again, and handling such main assets like museums. Example, Louvre Museum in Abu Dhabi, which was opened in 2017. I think these days they celebrating the 3rd anniversary of Louvre Abu Dhabi here, which consider one of the few global museum. In the pipeline, we have Sheikh Zayed National Museum, Guggenheim Abu Dhabi Museum, and all these projects also under DCT. Library, of course, we have the National Library, and which now become Arabic Center language here in Abu Dhabi, where they look after all the type of publishing and managing the libraries here in Abu Dhabi, including the translation project under a project called Kalima. So these type of project need to have a clear vision with very agile process. You can't just push the procurement in a way by just imposing the governments or governance requirements. You need to be flexible and same time agile enough to cope with these requirements in order to make things happen quicker than usual.
So I think it's very interesting that you have these new projects upcoming, the museums, for instance, the Guggenheim, and I think you said the Sheikh Zayed National Museum as well. What processes are you putting in place so that you're ready for these? I mean, obviously within your function.
Yeah, again, process, because we utilize the government policy, and we have to modify the process in a way within that policy. The most which we focus on trying to make the process automated as much as possible. And mentioning this, I would take the example of what happened during or immediately after COVID-19. Normally, a lot of organizations were hit by surprise when COVID happened and people start working from home. And I can tell you from day, let's say -1, we were ready for working from home. We volunteer as supply management actually to be among the pilot for working from home before the rest of the employees here in DCT. And immediately we try to fix whatever gaps we have, including the simple, let's say, and very strict requirements of having or receiving the envelopes within the offices, where we did immediately modify that and accept the electronic copies as considering the situation of COVID-19. So this is a good example of how agile, how ready you are, and again, this required team efforts. Actually, it's not me or the team only. It's whole system where people consider or trying to make use of things in the right way in order to make things happen.
And have you had to, because you said that you were all working from different locations probably within Abu Dhabi. I don't know whether it may be within the whole of the UAE, but if you're all in different locations, you've obviously had to really embrace a lot of digitalization and really start thinking about your practices and how they can fit with this idea of not all being together in the office anymore, or certainly not for the time being.
Yes, definitely. We have mainly offices here in Abu Dhabi in different locations, and Al Ain, also Al Dhafra or Western region. But with or after COVID, people get the freedom to work from any place, including the global location. I have a couple of people who work from different parts of the world. They attend as usual. Their work is even better than usual, and that indicates of how possible we use the technology in the right direction. In the same time, this also reminds us about sometime the fear of using and getting ourselves updated. Sometimes you need something to little bit shake you in order to accept that change. And this is exactly what happened with COVID-19. Generally, nations who were ready to accept and embrace that change, they done it very quickly comparing to any other nation where they were not ready. And same time, we are lucky with the let's say IT and digital infrastructure which available within Abu Dhabi and UAE in general.
Waleed, thank you so much for your time. I've really appreciated you joining us today and talking through the processes you've put in place, how you've changed, and I think it's been a very interesting conversation.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it, and thank you, Rob, for managing this session. Thank you.
Thank you. So next in this track, in 10 minutes, will be a supply chain agility case study given by Arun Kumar from telecoms operator MTN Group. Thank you.